It's June, the Future Games show was yesterday, so that means we've got a new Dark Pictures trailer to talk about. Not that they're calling it a Dark Pictures trailer, but whatever. As long as we're getting the game in October, I could not care less about what they call it. There's two parts to the video, one in which we see a dramatic scene from the game, and one in which Will Doyle runs us through a new mechanic. Hopefully it's clear that the word new was in air quotes there. First thing we see is a scanning hallway that they're going to use to determine if someone is a monster. Immediately, I need to know everything about this scanner. What is it scanning for? Why is it on the ship? Is it there to detect infections and foreign bodies that people might pick up on the planet in the hopes of containing infections? Did they have to reprogram it to detect goop monsters? Or was that always what it was for, because the goop monsters were a known hazard for the people designing the ship? The strange gun that Stafford is holding is a Chiappa Rhino, a gun that's almost unique because the bullet is fired from the bottom of the revolving cylinder rather than the top, as is normal. The hole in the top bar there, where you would normally, see a barrel, can be used as the seat for a laser sight, although we've seen no evidence that this gun has one.
We are going to do this. Just lower the gun.
So, here's a question. At this point of the story, do they all know about the goop monsters? If not, then Brianna not wanting to have a gun pointed at her makes plenty of sense. After all, if only Stafford knows anyone could be an imposter at this point, this could seem a little unreasonable. Of course, if I knew that anyone could be a monster, then I'd be a little more understanding about Stafford's paranoia. Unless, of course, I was the monster. Then we get a scene of a wrecked hallway and what looks like Laura running across. This is followed by a horrible stretched face and a twitching hand, which raises the question, is this what happens when the goop is forming a person? Or when a person is being resorbed back into the goop mass? Or perhaps, are we seeing one of each? We see Zoe going through the scanner and apparently having her humanity confirmed. Now things get a little weird, as we have some drama in the hydroponics lab. A set of shots that seem to be set at vastly different parts of the game. First we see Joseph and Stafford looking the place over, but then we cut to a more brightly lit version of the same location, where Joseph is walking towards the hydropod while someone else is lying on top of it, with sparks flying everywhere. Then we reverse angles and discover that the person flopped on the hydropod is also Joseph. So, real Joseph desperately trying to escape from Goop Joseph here? That's certainly what it looks like. Or, did Goop Joseph just push him into the pod in an assassination attempt? Time will tell. So is this scene taking place in the aftermath, with Joseph explaining how he was attacked, and more importantly, is this when Stafford gets attacked by Goop Stafford? That scene does take place in the hydroponics lab after all. Goop monster opening its eye is way too creepy. Our pilot Noah gets safely scanned through, so that's nice. Here's real Stafford shooting Goop Stafford. Pretty sure we can confirm the guy with the gun is real Stafford, at least at this point in the game. Although I refuse to be sure about anything with all the madness going around. Here's Joseph hearing something over by the pods, possibly right before he gets attacked by his double. Laura, LaMarcus, and Noah are running towards or away from something.
Don't you ever point that thing at me again.
Noah does not like having a gun pointed at him, which is understandable, but I'm still deferring on whether or not it's reasonable. Note that we can only see Stafford and Joseph still in the pre-scan area at this point. Has everybody else gone through? Is the order in which you have the characters go through something that you, the player, is going to get to decide? Because that could be really interesting. Also, how great does this panel look? I love the retro monochrome design of the readouts. Now Shockstick Sam shows up to attack people in the garden. Who is she attacking? Seems like a lot of people are getting into fights with their doubles in the garden. Now, is this something that is going to keep happening over and over, or are we seeing the result of a decision point where you can send multiple people down to the garden and whoever winds up going gets into a fight with their double? Here Sam closes in on another Sam and Laura, then the fight starts. No idea who I'm rooting for here. Speaking of Sam, she's the next to get scanned. Note the webbed crates in the background. Is this scanner in some kind of a cargo loading and unloading area? That would actually make a lot of sense. On the cleared side, we can see that Noah, Brianna, and I think Joseph have already gone through and been cleared. Here's Joseph hiding from Goop Joseph at the same location, probably around the same time as the previous action we saw. Now, Goop Joseph is reverting back to his normal form, which reminds me to pose a question. Are those some kind of bio-monitoring devices on the character's arms? Are they all wearing Apple Watches? The reason I ask is the Goop capable of simulating technology? We can see that their clothes are just Goop shaped like clothes, which suggests the watches are as well. Is it so perfectly emulated that it can hook up to the ship's Wi-Fi? Can we determine who is or isn't a Goop monster based on their ability to stream cat videos to their wrists? Note that as Sam is going through, there doesn't seem to be anyone left behind Stafford. Then we see the sleep pods both before and after in Goopification. Then finally someone doesn't get recognized by the scanner, but we have no idea which character it is. I mean, the shots suggest that it can't be Stafford or Brianna, but we have no idea which shots the audio actually goes with. They can manipulate us any way they want in this trailer, which is a completely fair thing to do. It's a trailer. If this is the scan result of the person who's been detected, we do know their serial number, but because we don't actually know any characters' serial numbers yet, this number is not important. They want to do the blood test from the thing, and bless them for it. I can't wait to see how this scene plays out. That said, could the scanner be detecting that Laura is a robot, as many people have theorized? Do you have to hyphenate no one? I've never been clear about the rule on this. Oh, and speaking of the blood test from the thing, here's Goop Noah with his head split open, like in that famous scene. Now, listen to these lines.
We need urgent assistance. Please, help us.
Who exactly is Brianna asking for help in this scene? Aren't they effectively alone out in space? It took years to get here, right? Who could you possibly be radioing with the hope of any kind of assistance? Unless, is there another ship out there that they find out about at some point? There was that mysterious scanner drone we saw in the trailers. There's so much to consider and only 4 months left for us to guess wildly. Okay, now it's time for Will Doyle's section of the video.
But what if that went differently?
It's kind of funny that he started off that way, since we didn't actually see anyone make a decision or anything particularly fatal happening. First off, this Lamarcus has to be a Goop monster, right? Or are the glass walls of this ship so weak that you can break them with your bare hands? Maybe this dude really cheaped out on all the windows on his spaceship? He's rich after all, and rich people tend to be insanely cheap and sloppy with their work.
Hey, I'm Will Doyle, Creative Director on Directive 8020, and I'm here to share with you a new feature that we've added for the first time in a Dark Pictures game.
I do like that Will Doyle calls it a first for a Dark Pictures game, since he's basically describing the cutting room floor feature from Frank Stone. Now here's the important part. Confirmation that the prologue is set on the spaceship when the goop first hits the ship. And we're going to be playing as Sims and Carter. Now this is something we'd already figured out based on their roles as sleep technicians, but it's still nice to have it confirmed. My dream that we would have a prologue where we played as the Bat Monsters 30 million years earlier sadly didn't come to pass. Oh well. So let's check out the whole plot of the prologue, or at least one possible path through it. They're informed of the hull breach. Here they choose to manage the problem themselves, rather than, I guess, attempt to wake people up to help? They go through the crew quarters no matter what. Is that a statue of Lamarcus's head? Dear God, if so, this man must be the worst. Note that there seems to be a text file and a video to collect in the level. These are being clearly marked, just as they were in Frank Stone, which is nice. Now, if the text file image represents anything readable, does that mean the video is the premonition? Some people have worried that there aren't going to be any premonitions or dark pictures in the game because you can't see them on the pause menu here. But I don't think we can assume that based on that one piece of evidence. They could have easily just moved the premonitions into the secrets tab. There's an alternate route and decision you can avoid, maybe based on whether you chose to do it yourself or wake people up. You have to go through medical and can find another text file there. Also, they discover a lot of the ship's hulls were struck, assuming you count each floor as its own hull. This is the going outside to survey the damage scene we've seen a bunch of footage of. They have a heart-to-heart. About what, and why use that term? Have these two fallen in love while stuck on a spaceship for years together? Or is it more of a metaphorical heart-to-heart? The choice point can wind up with Carter being called the strategist, and more importantly, check out the skull at the bottom right. Does this mean a possible death occurs right here? I'm a little weirded out that they're going out of their way to tell the audience how important this decision is. But if it makes the game more accessible, I'm not going to complain.
Turning points will be available both digitally and physically for all copies of the game from when you start your very first mission.
Nice to know that everyone will have access to the cutting room floor immediately, and it won't just be a pre-order thing unless you've beaten the game. Also nice that there's a mode that doesn't let you rewind until you've beaten the game. I feel like that's how most of us are going to play it the first time. So here's our Digital Deluxe breakdown. We've got an art book, a soundtrack, extra franchise collectibles to be found in the game, like the dolls and Frankstone, but more importantly, legacy character skins. Jason and Salim are in the game. Although since Carter's a prologue character, they probably won't share any scenes. I know, I'm sad too. Is it just these three, or is everyone getting a legacy skin? If so, who should be what? There's definitely going to be a video about that, now that I say it out loud. What's really intriguing is that, based on the crew intro videos, Zoe is not a playable character, but she does have an alternate skin right there, so it won't just be for the 7 playable characters. This could be amazing. I'm very excited about the costumes, in case that wasn't clear. More importantly, putting Belial in there, as the opposite of the Curator, really does reinforce his position as the Angel of Death, doesn't it? There's also a couple of emails about this, so let's check them out. No real news here, it's just telling us about the trailer. Still funny to see this called a new feature, although I'm not going to complain. I've been asking for them to add this literally since I first reviewed Until Dawn a decade ago, so I'm just happy they're fully embracing it after Frankstone. The second email is a press release from the people handling review codes, and there's a slight elaboration on the costumes in this one. According to this, everyone is getting a costume, which, of course, isn't that hard to do since they don't have to make new models, just tweak old ones. So yeah, a huge amount of stuff to be excited about. We're just 4 months away, and in all likelihood, the summer is going to bring us even more information about the game. I, for one, can't wait to see it. For now, though, I've been the Hidden Object Guru. Thanks for watching. If you had a good time and you'd like to see more, this button's coming up to help with that. Questions, comments, your own theories about who should have which costumes? No, I said that right. Go in the comments section below the video. Play my game Clown in the Woods on itch.io. It's a blast, even though it's barely technically a game. I mean, it has like 10 endings, but that doesn't make it a game, except in the most literal sense of the word. It's free is the point. I will see you back here for more 80/20, probably talking about costumes later this week, but until then, I'll say that's right. Au revoir.